She was already exhausted when the first one stepped into her path. Not startled, not surprised, just tired, because this wasn't the first time. She'd stayed late again. Someone had called in sick, and the manager didn't even ask, just looked at her and said, "You're good with people, you can handle it." She always handled it. Now she just wanted to go home. That's when the voice came from behind her. "Hey, you dropping that smile for us?" She didn't respond. She kept walking. Big mistake. Another voice joined in, closer this time, louder, confident. The kind of confidence men only have when they think there's no consequence. "Don't act like you didn't hear him." She stopped. Not because she wanted to, because her body knew what came next if she didn't. Slowly, she turned. 3 of them. Too close, too relaxed, already grinning like this was entertainment they'd paid for. One of them stepped forward. "Long shift?" he asked, eyes moving over her like she wasn't a person. She swallowed. "I just want to go home." That's when they laughed. Not a loud laugh, a quiet one. The kind that says they're enjoying this. "Oh, you'll get there," another said. "Relax." She tightened her grip on her bag. Her heart started beating faster, but she kept her voice steady. "Please, I didn't do anything." The first one leaned in slightly. "That's the problem." She took a step back. He mirrored it. Another step. Another mirror. Now she could feel the panic creeping in. Not screaming panic, the cold kind, the kind that tells you you're alone. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. That's when the third one finally spoke. "Because no one's stopping us." They spread out slightly, not rushing, not aggressive yet. They were taking their time, testing, enjoying the fear growing in her eyes. She looked past them. Not searching for help, she already knew better. No one ever stepped in. They knew that too. "That uniform really brings in tips, huh?" one of them said. "Bet you're real friendly when you have to be." Her face burned. "Stop," she said. "I said stop." The word barely left her mouth before the first one scoffed. Or what? Silence. Because there was no answer, and they knew it. He stepped closer, close enough that she could smell alcohol on his breath. "You think you're better than us?" he asked. "No," she said quickly, "I don't." "Then why won't you talk to us?" "I am talking to you." "Not the way we want." Her fingers were shaking now. She hated that, hated giving them that. "I just worked 12 hours, she said. "I'm tired, please." That did it. The first one reached out, not grabbing her, not yet, just brushing his fingers against her arm. Light, deliberate, enough to make the message clear. She flinched, and they saw it. "There it is," one of them said. "That look." She pulled her arm back. "Don't touch me." The smile on his face faded, just a little. "Oh," he said calmly. "Now you want rules?" Another stepped closer. "Relax, we're just talking." She shook her head. "I said, don't touch me." The third one laughed under his breath. "You hear that? She thinks she's in charge." They circled, just enough to make escape feel pointless. Not blocking her completely, just enough pressure to make her hesitate. That was the worst part, because hesitation was what they wanted. She tried to keep her voice steady. "Please, just let me go." The first one tilted his head. "Say it nicer." She swallowed. "I said please." Again. Her hands were shaking now. She hated that they could see it. "I don't want trouble," she said. "That's funny," one of them replied, "because you're acting like you do." He stepped closer. Too close. "Do you know how disrespectful it is," he said, "to ignore someone when they're talking to you?" She didn't answer. Her mind was racing. Should she yell? Run? Fight? Every option felt wrong, and they could tell. "See?" the third one said. "She's scared." The word hung there. She felt her chest tighten. "Stop," she said again, louder this time. "I'm serious." The first one smiled. "That's what you should have said earlier." He reached for her bag, not yanking it, just gripping the strap. Her breath caught. "Let go," she said. "Or what?" There it was again, that question, the one that stripped everything away. She froze. And that's when the second one leaned in close enough that she could feel his breath. "No one's coming," he said quietly. "You know that, right?" Her eyes darted around anyway. Nothing. No voices, no footsteps, no interruption. Just them. He straightened and laughed. "See? Told you." Her heart was pounding now, loud enough that she was sure they could hear it. She tried one last thing. "Please, I have to get home." The third one smirked. "Yeah? To who?" Silence. "That's what I thought." The first one tightened his grip on the strap. "Relax," he said. "We just messing around." She pulled back, hard. The strap slipped from his hand. For half a second, everything stopped. Then, his face changed. Not angry. Worse. Offended. "You didn't have to do that," he said. "I told you not to touch me." His eyes hardened. "You don't get to tell me what to do." He stepped forward again, faster this time. If you believe people like this should always face consequences, tap like, comment where you're watching from, and subscribe, because this story is far from over. She backed up instinctively. He didn't stop. "You think you're better than us?" he snapped. "No," she said quickly. "I just want to leave." "Then why are you making this difficult?" "I'm not." He laughed sharply. "Yeah, you are." The second one shook his head. "Man, she's really pushing it." The third crossed his arms, watching. "This is why people get into trouble," he said. "They don't know when to stay quiet." Her throat felt tight. She could feel tears threatening, and that scared her more than anything. Because once they saw that, she knew they'd enjoy it. She straightened. "I said, leave me alone." The first one stared at her for a long moment. Then he smiled again. Slow. Cold. "You hear that?" he said to the others. "She's got a backbone now." They laughed. He leaned in close, his voice dropping. "Here's how this works," he said. "You don't raise your voice, you don't pull away, and you don't act like you're above us." She shook her head. "You're not listening." "Oh, I am." His grip closed around her wrist. Not crushing, just firm enough. Her breath caught sharply. "Let go of me," she said, panic finally breaking through. The second one glanced around, unconcerned. "Relax, she's fine." She tried to pull free. He tightened his grip. "Stop moving," he said, irritation creeping in. "You're making it worse." Her pulse was racing now. "Please," she said, voice shaking. "You're hurting me." The third one scoffed. "No, he's not." She cried out as she twisted again. That's when the first one snapped. "All right," he said. "That's enough." He yanked her closer. Not violently. Controlled. Confident. "You had your chance to be cool," he said. "Now you're just being dramatic." Her bag slipped from her shoulder and hit the ground. Something inside her broke. She stopped struggling. Her shoulders sagged. And they mistook that for surrender. The first one loosened his grip slightly. "See?" he said. "Was that so hard?" She didn't answer. Her eyes were fixed somewhere past them. Not pleading, not hopeful, just steady. The second one noticed. "What are you looking at?" he asked, glancing behind him. "Nothing obvious." He laughed it off. "She's bluffing." The third one shrugged. "Doesn't matter." The first one smirked again. "Let's teach her some respect," And right then, a calm voice spoke from directly behind them. Not loud, not angry, just certain. "Take your hands off her." All three froze, not because of the words, but because of the tone. The first one turned slowly, and for the first time that night, he hesitated. The silence after that voice hit harder than shouting ever could. "Take your hands off her." The first man turned fully now. "What did you just say?" he asked. The voice answered without raising volume. "I said, let her go." The grip on her wrist loosened, but only slightly. The second man snorted. "Who the hell are you?" No answer. Not immediately. That irritated them. "Hey," the first one said, squaring his shoulders. "This doesn't concern you." A pause. Then, "It does now." That was enough to make the third man laugh. "Oh, come on," he said. "You try to be a hero?" The first man glanced back at the woman, still holding her wrist. "You know this guy?" he asked her. She shook her head quickly. "No," she whispered. "Thought so." He looked back again. "See? Not your problem." The voice didn't argue, didn't explain, just repeated, firmer this time. "Let her go." Something about the way it was said made the second man uneasy. He glanced at the first. "Man, just drop it, not worth it." The first man didn't like that. He hated being told what to do. He tightened his grip again, not enough to hurt, just enough to reassert control. "She's fine," he said sharply. "Mind your business." The woman winced. "Hey," the voice snapped. That was the first crack. The first man turned fully now, finally stepping between the woman and the voice. "You want to do something about it?" he asked. Still no raised voice. Still no threats. Just calm. "I don't want trouble," the man behind them said. "But you're done here." That did it. The third man scoffed. "Listen to this guy." The second one shook his head. "Bro thinks he's in a movie." The first man laughed loudly now. "You hear yourself?" he said. "There's three of us." He stepped closer to the voice. "You really want to make this worse?" The woman tried to pull away again. "Don't move," the first man warned her without looking. She froze. The calm voice spoke again. "Last warning." The word warning hung there. The first man smiled. "Or what?" he asked. There it was, that question again. This time, the voice answered. "Or you're going to regret it." The third man burst out laughing. "Oh man, he's serious." The second man laughed too, but it sounded forced. All right, the first man said, waving one hand dismissively. "Hero, take a breath." He leaned back toward the woman. "This'll only take a second." The calm voice moved closer. Not rushing, not aggressive, just closer. "You don't want to do that," the voice said. The first man turned fast. "What are you going to do? Call the cops?" "No." "Yell?" "No." "Then shut up." He shoved the woman slightly, not enough to knock her down, enough to make a point. She stumbled and barely caught herself. That was the moment. The moment the air changed. The second man felt it too. "Hey," he muttered, "seriously, let's go." The first man ignored him. "See," he said, smug, "nothing happened." The calm voice exhaled, slow, controlled. "You had a chance," he said. The first man laughed again. "You gonna cry about it?" The third man joined in. "Man's shaking." But the voice wasn't shaking. That's what scared them. "You should have walked away," the voice said. The first man stepped closer, chest out. "And you should mind your own damn—" He stopped, because suddenly he was on the ground. Not thrown, not slammed, just gone from standing to flat on his back. 1 second he was talking, the next the breath was knocked out of him and he couldn't understand why. "What the—" the third man shouted. The second man froze. The woman gasped. The calm voice spoke again. "I said let her go." The first man scrambled, confused, rage replacing shock. "You just touched me," he shouted. "You're done," the third man yelled. The second man hesitated. "Wait." Too late. The third man lunged. He didn't get far. A sharp movement, a sudden stop. He hit the ground hard, clutching his arm and yelling in pain. "What did you do?" he screamed. The calm voice didn't answer. The second man backed up instinctively. "Hey, hey," he said quickly. "We don't want trouble." The woman stared, wide-eyed. The calm voice stepped between her and them now. "Get behind me," he said quietly. She didn't hesitate. The first man staggered back to his feet, furious. "You think this is over?" he snarled. "You assaulted us." "You assaulted her," the voice replied. The first man pointed wildly. "She's lying." The voice didn't even look at him. "You're done." The second man grabbed the first man's arm. "Man, stop! Something's off." The first man jerked his arm free. "You scared? He's just one guy." The voice tilted his head slightly. "You really think that?" he asked. The first man charged again, this time faster, angrier, desperate to reclaim control. It lasted less than a second, a blur of movement, a sharp sound. Then the first man was on his knees, gasping, his arm pinned in a way that made his face go pale. "Tap," the calm voice said, "or it breaks." The first man froze. What are you?" he gasped. "Someone who warned you." The third man was still on the ground, groaning. The second man held his hands up now. Okay, we're done." The calm voice didn't loosen his grip. "You should have been done earlier." The woman was shaking behind him, not from fear anymore, from adrenaline. "Please," the second man said, "just let him go." The calm voice looked at him for the first time. "Tell me," he said calmly, "were you going to stop him?" The second man didn't answer, because the answer was no. The calm voice sighed. "That's what I thought." He released the first man suddenly. The man collapsed forward, clutching his arm and coughing. "Get up," the calm voice said. "All of you." The third man struggled to his feet. The second man helped the first one up. They backed away now, not laughing, not confident, shaken. "This isn't over," the first man muttered. The calm voice met his eyes. "Oh," he said, "it is." The first man tried to laugh it off. "You think you're tough? You got lucky." The calm voice didn't respond. He reached into his pocket, slowly, deliberately. The woman stiffened. The second man panicked. "Hey, don't!" The calm voice pulled out a small, worn object, not a weapon. He flipped it open, held it up. The first man squinted, his face drained of color. The second man's mouth fell open. The third man stopped breathing for a second, because they recognized it. Not what it was, but what it meant. The calm voice spoke. "You still think I got lucky." The object stayed open in his hand. No explanation. No speech. Just long enough for them to understand. The first man swallowed hard. That's fake," he said, but his voice cracked halfway through. The calm voice didn't react. The second man stepped closer, squinting. Then he froze. "Oh no," he muttered. The third man looked between them, confused. "What?" he asked. "What is it?" The first man snapped at him. "Shut up." The third man's eyes widened. "You don't talk like that unless—" The calm voice closed the object and slid it back into his pocket. "You don't need to know what it is," he said. "You just need to leave." The first man shook his head slowly. "No," he said. "No, this is messed up." He looked at the woman now. His confidence was gone. His voice dropped. "You didn't say anything about him." She didn't respond. She didn't have to. The second man took a step back. "We didn't know," he said quickly. "All right? We didn't know." The calm voice turned toward him. "You knew enough," he replied. The first man clenched his jaw. "You can't just jump us like that," he snapped weakly. "That's assault." The calm voice met his eyes. "You want to test that theory?" The first man didn't answer. He looked away first. That told everyone everything. The third man finally spoke again, quieter now. "Man, we should go." The first man hesitated, not because he wanted to stay, because leaving meant admitting something. "You think you scared us?" he said, trying to recover. "This doesn't end here." The calm voice nodded once. "You're right." That surprised him. "It doesn't end here." The first man frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" The calm voice didn't answer. Instead, he turned slightly and spoke over his shoulder. "You okay?" The woman nodded. Tears were streaking down her face now, but she was standing. "I think so," she whispered. He turned back to them. "You have 10 seconds. Walk away." The second man didn't wait. He grabbed the third man's arm. "Let's go. Now!" The first man hesitated. His pride screamed at him, but his body remembered the pain. "Fine," he muttered. "This isn't over." He turned, took 2 steps, then stopped. "You think you're some kind of hero?" he asked without looking back. The calm voice answered immediately. "No." That pause again. Then, "I'm just someone who finishes things." The first man's shoulders tensed. He took another step, then another. They moved away faster now, not running, but not slow either. The second man glanced back once. The calm voice was still standing there, watching. Not angry, not triumphant, just alert. The woman exhaled shakily. Her knees almost gave out. He noticed instantly. "Sit," he said gently. She did. Her hands were shaking uncontrollably now. "Thank you," she whispered. I didn't know what to do." He nodded. "They count on that," he said. She looked up at him. "You didn't hesitate," she said. "At all." He didn't answer. She studied his face. "Are they coming back?" He shook his head. "No." "How do you know?" "Because they're already panicking." As if on cue, voices rose in the distance, angry, urgent. The first man was shouting now. "You didn't have to tell him." "Well, you saw it too." "This is bad, man. This is really bad." The woman hugged herself. "What happens now?" she asked. The calm voice reached into his pocket again, pulled out his phone. "They made their choice," he said. "Now it catches up." He dialed, put the phone to his ear. "This is him," he said calmly. "Yes, it just happened." A pause. "I have 3 individuals, 1 injured, 1 resisting, 1 attempting to flee." The woman stared at him. He continued. "Yes, I'll hold." The second man's voice echoed again, frantic now. "They're calling someone." "Of course they are. We're screwed." The calm voice listened quietly, then nodded. "Understood," he said. "I'll wait." He ended the call. The woman swallowed. "Who did you call?" she asked. He looked at her. "The right people." Her breath hitched. You're not going to hurt them, are you?" He shook his head. "No," he said. "That part's over." The shouting in the distance grew louder, closer. The first man's voice cracked now. "We didn't even touch her that much." "Shut up! Just shut up!" The calm voice stood straighter. "They always say that," he said. The woman closed her eyes. The adrenaline was fading now. Fear was turning into something else. Relief. But it wasn't complete yet, because she knew this still wasn't finished. The calm voice took one slow breath, then another. "They're about to understand," he said. "Understand what?" she asked. He didn't answer right away, because footsteps were approaching again, fast, heavy, not theirs. The first man's voice broke completely now. "Oh no," he whispered. The calm voice turned toward the sound. His posture changed, not aggressive, official, controlled, prepared. "This," he said quietly, "is where it ends." The footsteps stopped just short of them. Voices followed, calm, measured, authoritative. "Step back, all of you." The first man turned slowly. His face collapsed the moment he saw who was there. This is a misunderstanding," he blurted out. No one answered him. Hands reached out, firm, unyielding. "On the ground, now." The third man hesitated, just long enough. "Now," the voice repeated. He dropped instantly. The second man followed without argument. The first man looked around wildly. "This guy attacked us," he said, pointing. "He just jumped us." The calm voice didn't react. He reached into his pocket again, pulled it out. This time, he didn't flip it open for them. He handed it forward. The response was immediate. Posture straightened, tone shifted. "Yes, sir," one of them said quietly. That was when the first man realized, not guessed, realized. His knees buckled slightly. "You've got to be kidding me," he whispered. The calm voice finally spoke directly to the others. "I intervened when they restrained her against her will," he said. "They escalated, I de-escalated. No exaggeration, no emotion, just facts." The response was a nod. "Understood." The first man shook his head desperately. "She's lying!" he shouted. "She didn't say no!" The woman flinched. The calm voice turned instantly. His tone changed, not louder, sharper. "She said no," he said, multiple times. Silence. "And you ignored it." The first man opened his mouth again. Nothing came out. "Hands behind your back," one of the others ordered. The cuffs clicked shut. That sound echoed louder than any shout earlier. The third man started crying. "I didn't even do anything," he sobbed. The calm voice looked at him. "You watched," he said. "That was enough." The second man stared at the ground. "I tried to stop him," he muttered. The calm voice didn't argue. He didn't agree either. "Tell it to them," he said. They were pulled away one by one. Not dragged, not rushed. Just removed, like the thread had been erased. The woman stood slowly now. Her legs were still shaking, but she was standing. "It's over," the calm voice said gently. She nodded. Her voice broke anyway. "Thank you," she whispered. He shook his head. "You didn't do anything wrong," he said. "Remember that." She wiped her face. "I thought no one was going to help." He met her eyes. "Someone always should." She hesitated. Who are you?" He paused, just for a moment, then answered honestly. "Someone who's seen what happens when people don't step in." She nodded slowly. That was enough. They walked her through what would happen next, what she could expect, what she didn't owe anyone. She listened, really listened, because for the first time that night, she felt believed. As they prepared to leave, one of them stopped the calm voice. "Sir," he said quietly, "we'll take it from here." The calm voice nodded. He turned to go. The woman called after him. "Wait." He stopped. She took a breath. "I won't forget this," she said. He gave a small nod. "You don't have to," he replied. "Just keep going." And then he walked away. No applause, no speech. Just gone. Later, the first man would learn what consequences actually meant. Not in anger, not in violence. In paperwork, in charges, in statements that didn't disappear, in a record that followed him. The third man would try to claim ignorance. It wouldn't work. The second man would say he didn't mean for it to go that far. It already had. And the woman, she would go home. Shaken, but safe. And for the first time in a long while, unashamed. Because she didn't freeze. She didn't fail. She survived. And someone stepped in. Stories like this happen more often than people realize. Subscribe for more real feeling stories where the truth always comes out.